football on Off the Ball.
With Sky. The Premier League is back. Watch every live game for the rest of the season on Sky Sports, BT Sport and Premier Sports.
I'm prepared to do anything I can to play for my country again.
Do it then.
What about your start to the game?
It wasn't bad, was it?
Why should an honest answer be a mistake?
How can a modern day manager not have a mobile phone?
Why should he?
All right, you're welcome back. It is the Football Show with you right through to the end of the show today, and we'll have Andy Naylor along in just a little bit to focus on all things Brighton specifically. Before all of that, let's get to Canada. Kevin Kilbane, come on in.
Hi Adrian, how are you getting on?
What's happening?
Oh, it's all quiet. Just had plenty of snow in the last few days. Temperatures have plummeted. We're around -8 or 9 today, so
Very good.
I think we're going to get colder week, and it's our birthday week as well. So yeah, big birthday week in the house, you know.
Whose birthday is it?
We don't want to talk about it.
Come on now. Yeah, these are the sort of exclusives you give to VIP. Come on now, or hello. Or
no. Well, mine's shut up. Mine's Wednesday. Brianne's is Thursday, and Olivia's is Friday.
Amazing. 46.
So big week.
46.
I don't. As I said, I definitely don't want to talk about that.
We're both in the same track here, Kev.
Yeah.
It's not. I can't disassociate myself.
77.
Good man.
Yeah, 46, getting on now. Yeah.
Will you do anything special for it, or is it just you're too busy with snow and kids?
In kids, yeah, that's probably more to the point. No, I think Brie and I are going out for a bit of dinner on Wednesday for my birthday. She's kind of discarding her birthday. She doesn't want to talk about that, so she's letting that one slide, you know. So Wednesday, I think we'll go out, a few drinks and a bit of dinner. I think more like late afternoon, early evening. I think, and then we'll be back home. You know yourself, Adrian. You know how it is these days. You know?
I don't. You're a far better social life than I have. So what sort of
No chance. I have no social life.
Same. What sort of food will you go for?
I think we're going to a steakhouse, so it'll be steak and maybe a little bit of red or something like that. Nice. So we'll see what we'll go for. I mean, I've not got the fine wine taste like your good self, Adrian. You know, but I'll do my best. I'll do my best. You know.
What, you've been busy out snow ploughing, have you?
Yeah, it's been. Yeah, it's come down. So it's that's something that's very new to me. Yeah, you have to clear the driveways, or you get fined and things like that. You have to clean the sidewalks and things like that. Yeah, so. Just obviously to keep everything right for people walking by and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of new to me. Yeah.
So what, you're out with the shovel, are you?
Yeah, the shovel, the snow shovel. Yeah. So getting out with that, it's a good workout. It's good in the morning when you get up. Actually,
I wonder who's doing it. I wonder who's doing it. I have my doubts.
Well, no, Brie actually likes to do it a lot more than me, to be honest with you. But I get out. I like to do it. You know yourself. You've got to get out. You've got to get a bit of a workout in if you can. Because I'm hardly going to the gym. When I was away at the World Cup, it was great. I was able to go to the gym for a month, try to get myself healthy a little bit. And since I've been back, I've done zilch, done absolutely nothing. You can't get there.
Yeah, well, look, we're just delighted to have you on, Kev. It's been so long. It could have been, in fact, the World Cup since we talked to you last. So, when I heard you were coming on, I said, listen, clear the decks. Joe Malloy, get out of town. Make space. I need to come in and chat to this man.
The only reason why I'm on is because of you, Adrian. You know, the alpha dog in town, you know. So once the big man comes into play, you know, I'm going to say congratulations to Joe as well. I don't know if he's trying to keep that quiet, is he? But
yeah, I wouldn't say too much. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's
congratulations to Joe and
keep
moving. That's what I would say.
I'm getting the head shake from outside the box here, so we'll move on.
I'll say you can put it on my shoulders.
Come here. What the people are going to be roaring at us now? Get into the football, and we'll do that. But you must have been impressed. Were you watching Mayo the other night, or were you just tweeting about it?
No, I seen the highlights and things like it. It's hard to get up the coverage and things like that, actually. So I saw James Carr's goal and things like that. I didn't see the game. I didn't see it. What a goal, eh? What a goal. Good start as well. The bits that I saw, everything, it looked like and again, you're reading a lot on Twitter and you're kind of picking up the vibe that it was a brilliant game, certainly for it being January. Brilliant start to the season. I actually read your good self tweet as well. So it was, it's nice to get the season up and running for them. And that's the thing that I miss. I used to go to a lot of the league games. I used to go and watch throughout the season. So, you get to the games around the country. That was great when we used to go and see them. So that's something that I missed, actually. It was great to get out and see them.
You just can't beat it. We've loads to get into, right? So let's get into it. And if anybody has any questions or comments on YouTube, do fire them in as well over the course of the next little while. I might ask you first of all about Everton. I want to come to talk about Evan Ferguson. We're sort of obviously being mildly obsessed with him now at the minute. But we might just ask you about Everton to begin with, Kev. Sean Dyche confirmed today. Has that appointment given you, it was expected, obviously, has it given you hope?
Um, I just hope that there isn't that real negative feeling towards him straight away because of how Burnley played. I mean, I actually have been in total admiration of what he did at Burnley over the years, and even the style of football they were playing at times probably went under the radar a little bit. I think a lot of the games that were always shown on Super Sunday were kind of dull games. I think that's where people got a lot of opinion of Burnley. But a lot of the time they were playing good football. They were solid, difficult to beat. And I think that's the most important thing now for Everton in the next few months is certainly be difficult to beat, get the points on the board, get well organised, and don't be too open and too elaborate. I think that's the way it's got to be for the next while, because most important thing now is we go back maybe to this stage last season is staying in the Premier League. And it kills me to say it at times, really, the way that Everton have spent over the last 6 or 7 years and everything that's gone into that club to see them in the position that they are, because I think everybody recognises that they should be a lot higher than what they are. But over the course of the season, they're one of the worst teams in the Premier League. They've been poor to watch. They've showed very little going forward, and defensively, it's been as bad as you've seen from Everton sides in a while. So I think Dyche will certainly sort that out. I think his know-how of one or two players that's in that club as well, who obviously he brought through at Burnley and give Premier League games to. So I think that will help. But there's a lot to come from that side, I think, even without Sean Dyche, whether it was him or not. There's a lot more to come from that side because of the talent that's in that dressing room.
The concern, they remind me a little bit of Ireland in some ways, Kevin, that like no matter how organised they can get defensively, and they do obviously need to tighten up in defence, no matter how well they can get organised there, they've obviously had so much change in terms of their ability to score a goal over the last 9 months, I suppose, in total, between Richarlison going, they've missed out on Danjuma, of course, Spurs. Maupay just isn't doing it for them, and Calvert-Lewin can't stay fit. Like that ability, and the window's about to shut, obviously, there's not going to be anybody coming in, I don't think. That ability to score goals, that's going to be the tough bit for him.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see if they can do a little bit of business before the window closes. That will be the most important thing, I think, for Sean Dyche right now. I know that Dyche last time when he was in for the Everton job, I'm not too sure if it was the last time when Lampard got the job. I think it was before that, maybe when Benitez got the job. I think he didn't get the job actually from the amount of staff that he wanted to bring across from Burnley. I think that was the sticking point for him getting the job. So he's obviously come to an arrangement on how he's going to get his own staff incorporated into that dressing room and around the team. I think it's extremely important for him to do that. So I think with him, as I said, maybe get one or two signings in if he can. If not, I don't think it's a big deal because of the talent that's in that dressing room. But you talked about going forward for Everton. You always feel if Everton are going to win a game recently, it's always they've got to win a game 1-0. And if you're going out with that, it's not so much the mentality, but if that's the case in every match, you've got to win a game 1-0. It's never going to happen because you are going to concede. And Everton have been pretty poor defensively. They haven't looked organised. I don't feel when I've seen them play. I think they've been far too open. Considering the position that they're in, if everything's going quite well, you can play a bit more expansive. But I think Everton have played that expansive way when they've been in trouble, and that only leads to nervousness around the pitch. Players don't necessarily want to take the ball, or when they do take the ball, the first touch isn't quite right. And that's what I felt with a number of players defensively when they've been taking the ball and putting themselves under pressure and giving up chances. So I think that's something that Dyche will probably sort. I think you'll probably see more of a back four intact if he does play with a four, which in general he's done at Burnley. And I think it will be from a solid base where he will try to create going forward. I mean, as I said, it's that negative feeling that they had when Allardyce took over on that short-term basis a few seasons ago now. It was, we're playing direct football. We're playing almost boring football is what the thoughts was. I hope that's not going to be the case in the feeling towards Sean Dyche. I feel as though that he will get them organised. He will get them settled. And I think they can build over a number of years now. I think that's what I'm hoping for Everton going forward.
Yeah, he signed a 2.5-year contract. So at least, I mean, I'm sure Everton fans at the minute, and maybe there's a fatalistic amongst them who believe they're going down no matter what happens. But at least he's there to try and cope with if that does happen, with getting them back up again. Just like he obviously, there was that situation.
Right, I'm not being. I just want to no, that one. Everton can't go down, Adrian. I'm not being funny now. For what they've spent, the expenditure over the last few years, and financial fair play came into them, how they had to sell Richarlison. If Everton went down, it'd be catastrophic for them. I don't think it would be a case of just going down to come straight back up. I really feel strongly about that. Everton can't go down this year, and they have to build from a Premier League position rather than from a starting position in the Championship.
Hard to see the evidence for it at the minute. Are you as passionate as and as put out by the ownership then as much as the fans are? Obviously, I think most of them weren't even giving Lampard so much of a hard time as they were the board and the owners.
Yeah, well, it's been more of how that money has been spent, and I didn't see too much, too much distress or too many people screaming and shouting when one or two of those signings were going into the place. But it was more the wage bill. The wage bill from Everton. Richarlison was on 7-8 million a year. This is the thing that a lot of Evertonians really can't get their head around. Everton were competing with Arsenal from wages point of view. They were paying 150, 160 grand a week to players. This is going from the days of Everton being quite stable and keeping the house run well. It wasn't the case for them in the last few years. It's just been more the wages where everybody knew Everton had money, so they were able to pay the transfer fees, yes, starting off. And then the wage bill, as I said, was going from the top earner, probably when Mashiri took over, 60, 70,000 a week to 3 times that by the time we get in 6 or 7 years down the line. That's the thing where you're looking at, and how Everton have been probably misinformed on how they're actually going about the business.
Yeah, he had that Dyche about 9 months ago. And he was at Burnley half-time. They're 2-1 down to Everton. It was reported on at the time, and he said, I don't think these lads know how to win a game, which in hindsight might not have been. He'll be talking to a lot of the same players, obviously, when he's in the dressing room now. Yeah. He also has a terrible start, Kev. He's got Arsenal on Saturday and a Merseyside derby 9 days later. It's Jesus. They talk about a honeymoon period. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, well, Liverpool are struggling. The only way you look at it, Liverpool are struggling as well. They're not in a great position, but they're still in a obviously a lot more comfortable position in the Premier League coming into that derby. The Arsenal game, of course, if they get anything out of it, it'll be a bonus, like everyone always says, the old cliche with that one. But I can't see them taking anything from that Arsenal game. The tempo that Arsenal are playing at, the way that Mikel Arteta's got them playing. So it will be about maybe getting something from that derby game. And it's possible. Everton have got results in the derby over the years when they haven't necessarily been playing well and things have been going against them. It certainly gives Sean Dyche a bit of time between now and then to get something in place, to try to pick the pocket of Liverpool a little bit. There's going to be a result or a game that's going to be a catalyst to get you back up the table. It's got to be that Liverpool game.
We're very excited about Evan Ferguson. We're all on Evan Ferguson watch at the minute. He's had another very impressive display for Brighton against Liverpool in the Cup of the weekend, and then obviously got that I was going to describe it as unfortunate injury towards the end, but it was just a desperate tackle. It must be said. How it didn't result in a red card is beyond me. We'll put that aside to 1 second at the minute if we can. What's your sense about the ceiling for this guy?
I mean, you look at his age. That's the thing that you're looking at right now, and he's been managed really well since he's signed there at Brighton. I think he's certainly been a player that's been allowed to go and flourish. He's not necessarily been given a lot of game time up until recently, and I think that's always the best way to go about it. But he's obviously been impressing in training. He's obviously been pushing one or two of the other guys that's been around him. Physically, it's something, I'd be relying upon Dan McDonnell over the years to give me a bit of information on one or two of these young players. I'll have a few of the other guys calling me now to tell me that they should be going to them. But Dan's well informed on certainly the youth structure in Ireland, and a lot of the young players, when you hear the name around them, the hype can be, as we all do it, we're all guilty of it. We build up a player too much at times. But I think it's been fairly consistent on Evan Ferguson about, physically, totally able, and that's been the case since he's been a very young boy. He's been able to deal with a lot physically, and certainly going into the professional environment, that would help him physically. But there's way more to his game than just the physical side of it. His first touch, his awareness. I like the way at times where he can come off, he can take the ball, he gets turned, he can run at defenders. The header that he scored, the late header against Leicester, wasn't it, a couple of weeks ago? Look at the position that he was in and his ability to arrive late into the penalty area. It was an amazing header, a great header that he scored in that game. So I like what I'm seeing. You can't. I don't think there's anyone that would be watching right now, yourself included, Adrian, where we can't say we like what we see. He's in pole position he was. We're hoping this injury is not going to be as serious as being reported right now. But he's in pole position to start for Stephen Kenny. That's the position that he put himself into now. We've got nobody scoring goals at the level that he's scoring at. We've got nobody playing as consistently as he's been playing at over the last month or so. But there's always a reluctance because they're so young to say, let's put them in. And, whether or not Stephen Kenny was seriously considering starting him, he was a shoo-in for the squad, wasn't he? I think we all recognise that right now. And we're hoping that, as I said, given a bit of time to flourish, given more game time, given he's scoring more goals, the confidence will surely rise with him. He's going to get better and better. And you just hope that with that exposure that he's been given now, he's been given exposure to top class players on a daily basis that he's training with. He will get better and better, I'm sure of that.
Watching him yesterday, given that stuff that you've spoken about there, the range of abilities that he has, it's just exceptional. That sort of back to play piece, the feeding in players around him. He can come a bit deep if needs be. He can his awareness, his ability to sort of point to far more senior players around him. Here's where I want the ball, put me in. His thirst, his hunger to get out and want to be on the ball. He's not sort of shying away from it. And it's 1-1 yesterday. They're 1-0 down. He's front and centre looking for possession, which is very impressive. Now, all of that in the Irish context, our greatest need is obviously somebody to stick the thing in the back of the net. What, any sort of sense, or if you're Stephen Kenny, given that he can do a little bit of everything, how do we best utilise his ability to stick it in the net?
And it's the creativity that comes with that, Adrian. We that saying that keeps doing me head in, really. We don't have a Robbie Keane and things like that, but yes, Robbie at times was only getting 1 and 2 chances a game, and that might be the case, that he's got to find the consistency of taking his chances when he might not necessarily get a lot of them in the game, and that's got to be something that I'm sure that he's looking at now with him coming into the international setup. That might be the case at times, but consistently, I think under Stephen Kenny we have created more. Putting him in a position where if we're getting into wide areas and we're putting decent balls into the penalty area, he can go and attack crosses. He can certainly, as you say there, Adrian, with his back to play, I think is exceptional from him because of that physical nature where he can use his back, he can use his backside to back into players and come away with the ball and then be released into other areas where he can be more effective. And having those sort of talents that he's got, I think he will bring the best out of other players around him, because I think our big issue is, certainly under Stephen Kenny, is getting us up the pitch. We keep the ball well in our own in the defensive third, in the middle third of the pitch. We've been keeping the ball reasonably well, I think, at times. But it's when we've got into the final third where we've missed that link guy to get hold of the ball, to get turned, to maybe hold on to the ball for 2 or 3 seconds to get other players in support of him. That's the one thing we've lacked. And
would you put a premium?
Can be that guy.
Would you put a premium on that, Kev? That's really the question I'm asking. Is does Stephen Kenny say, listen, at all costs, do not come beyond this position. I don't want you coming deep. I need you up there. I need somebody to put the ball in the net. Or how specific can he be with him in terms of the demands on him?
I don't think that's going to be the case, no, because you watch him at Brighton. I spoke about coming off defenders to take the ball, and if he can come off defenders and take the ball, that's obviously coming to a deeper position. You're expecting runners off him if that's going to be the case. If he can get, as I said before, if he can get hold of the ball, I would always look at strikers at times. The old one that would have been said to us coming through, strikers take 2 touches, 2 or more if possible at times. Sometimes you're going to have to play it off first time, look for little 1-2s in certain areas. But by taking 2 touches at times, it just gives the rest of the players a bit of time to adjust to you. And I think that might be the case with Evan Ferguson. So if he's coming off, if he takes the ball, whether or not he gets turned, he can run at defenders, or even if it's just 2 touches holding a defender off, the rest of the play can build up on the other side of the pitch. If it's coming from a left back into his feet, he can actually turn out the other way and get playing with support from that side of the field. And that's, as I said, I don't think we've had that. I don't think we've had that link guy. And if he's going to play up top as a number 9, then we can play direct. I've got no problems about playing direct at times, turning opposition, getting the ball into his feet so he can be physical up against defenders. I think that's something that's overlooked when we're looking at how we play as an Irish side and what can bring the best out of players. But I do feel, though, that certainly getting hold of the ball, playing it into wide areas, and that ability to arrive late, I think that's where goals might come from him.
Yeah, he needs to work on his when he's getting the contact. He needs to go to the Jack Grealish school of here's how to win a free. I was watching him a couple of times yesterday, and there was definitely a little bit of contact, but he just wasn't.
That's the Irish rawness, isn't it? That's our rawness that we have. Don't stay on your feet. But you know yourself, at times it might be critical for getting free kicks around the penalty area in the final third, holding onto the ball, take that contact, just go over, get the free kick, and then we can actually build from that from set pieces, because it's a strength of ours.
So obviously we don't know about the injury. Potentially he's out for the France game. We've the Latvia friendly in March, and then the qualifier against France obviously in the same window, and then a bit of a break until the games that come our way in June again. But we're dealing with a hypothetical here, because it does, by all indications,
yeah, we'll see how that goes.
If he is fit, let's say for those games, or if he's fit for the June games that follow, then are you just putting him straight in, Kev, at this stage?
Yes, I would. As I said, there's nobody doing what he's doing at the level that he's at, the maturity that he's showing as well. I've seen a few of his interviews post-match as well, and I've been impressed with what he's saying. He knows himself. The thing that he keeps on saying is, I need to work hard in training, and I need to work hard when I'm getting my chance on the pitch. That's what it's all about. It's not rocket science at times when it comes to that. Yes, the technical aspect comes into it, but it is about his work rate and how he can maintain his place in the team right now. And that invariably is on the training ground, and how he's going to maintain his place.
Well, the one concern then I can see Stephen Kenny having, I could see it come up in a press conference after a game or in a match week about, the exposure. He's literally only just turned, he's like 18 about 4 months, 3 or 4 months ago, whatever it is. That's the one thing I could see Stephen Kenny saying, listen, despite all the ability, the extra level of attention that comes on you as an Ireland international obviously is a huge step up. That might be where the reluctance comes in.
I think that as well. The exposure that he's going to get or the attention, that he's going to get over in Ireland will be huge, where everyone's watching him. Every single Irish journalist is tweeting about him virtually every game now that he's playing and starting. As soon as he starts a game, the message is out, he's starting another match. As soon as he scores, everyone's tweeting around his goals. So we're all well versed on what he can do now, aren't we? Everybody knows what he's capable of doing, and as soon as he's going to be starting, the media attention, how it's going to be, the focus around those games will be, as soon as a team meets up, Evan Ferguson, he scored X amount of goals leading into this, hopefully if he's fit, as I'm saying, but the focus of attention will be clearly on him, and it's difficult for anyone to adjust to that, no matter what the attention he's getting right now with Brighton. He's still comfort blanket, he's still maybe got a little bit of cotton wool around him at the moment, whereas you're thrown to the wolves a little bit when he comes over, and God forbid he doesn't have a great game in that first match, which it's difficult to get your mindset right going into that game. You can imagine the disappointment and everybody talking around that, and the mentality he feels, or his mentality after that. It's difficult to just get your head around it, particularly when it'll be something that he would have looked forward to his whole career, his whole life in many respects. So he's. I think we do have to be careful. I think Stephen, of course, will be mindful of that. But as I said, there's nobody doing what he's doing right now. So if he continues with what he's doing to a certain extent, he certainly has to play.
Yeah, it's very hard not to be very excited about him, and there's an element of that's okay, but we obviously have to give him his space as well to grow. Aaron Connolly, I just want to ask you before we go, Kev, I don't want to be sort of overstating about the rebirth necessarily of Aaron Connolly, but she's watching some of the highlights from the whole game over the weekend where he scores two. One of them was absolutely class. If Lionel Messi scored it, it's doing the rounds, it's getting 40 million hits on Twitter.
Correct, yeah.
What the awareness to make the run, the touch, the finish, unbelievable. So he's obviously still on loan from Brighton out at Hull, and I don't know, maybe he's burned his bridges there, but from an Irish point of view, I don't want to overstate it with a rebirth, but surely back in starting to get back in Stephen Kenny's plans too.
Yeah, I'd love it if he signed for Hull, to be quite honest with you, regardless of what's happening at Brighton. Sometimes that freshness, of course, going over to Italy, and whatever happened, I'm sure that story will come out. He'll tell his side of it in time to come with what happened. But he's been excellent. Again, listening to him, he looks like he's got a smile on his face in his interviews post-game as well. He talks about his desire to play and be integrated into that whole side. And the goals have been flowing with him. So, again, he's somebody that we built up very quickly. There have been question marks of him on his attitude on the training ground, off the pitch, and things like this as well. It's nice to see him just performing and enjoying his football. I think that's the most important thing. If Hull is the club for him that can get him going again, because he has the ability. We all know that. We all know he's a player that can get better and better, and he's still young. So let's just hope. And again, let's not overstate it. Let's not go on too much about it right now. His goal at the weekend was incredible, and the goals that he's been scoring before it has been great to see. But hopefully he's just got a bit more to come yet as well. I think he just needs to figure things out a little bit with himself, and hopefully that'll be the case at Hull.
Yeah, well, I've just compared him to Lionel Messi, so that should help keep a lid on things.
Well, exactly. You're not shy in overstating things, are you? Let's be honest. No.
The Toffees are a shambles, says Barbalazza. No quick fix. And Donald Murphy giving you a recommendation. I don't know. You say at the top. He says GA Go, Kev, which you've certainly been on at some point.
I have, yeah. I have a GA Go, yeah. I'll be on it maybe later on. It's difficult as well, the time wise as well. Sometimes it's 8, 9 in the morning here when you've got kids running around. I just missed the game this weekend, but I'll be on GA Go as well. Yeah, it's recommended. It's good actually. It's good stuff. Lee Keegan was on at the weekend as well, which I missed Lee as well. So there you go.
That's going to draw you in straight away. Listen, happy birthday. Didn't appreciate that point at all, which was desperate on my behalf. Happy birthday to everybody in the house, pretty much. And
thank you so much.
Thanks a million for jumping on. Good on, Kev.
Take it easy.
Thanks a lot. Our football coverage on Off the Ball brought to you by Sky. You can watch all the football that you love, including the biggest Premier League games every weekend, live on Sky. We've Andy Naylor from The Athletic talking Brighton and Evan Ferguson next.
Football on Off the Ball.
With Sky, proud partner and supporter of the Republic of Ireland women's national football team.
This is News Talk.